Hey everyone, welcome to the Be Bold, Make Waves podcast, a show bringing you inspiring stories of women who are growing and scaling their business. I'm your host, Laura Comark, a website and tech integration specialist who works with online business owners who love their work and not their website. Join me as we have incredible conversations about business, mindset, productivity, and of course, the website and tech behind the business. Let's go ahead and dive in to this week's episode. Thank you everyone for joining us on today's show. If you don't already know me, my name is Laura Comark, and I'm a website and tech integration specialist. I work with women who love their work and not their website. I'm so excited for today's show and to bring you Jacqui Money. Jacqui is a South African entrepreneur and tiny house enthusiast who specializes in helping introverted service providers and coaches scale their online business without hiring a huge team if they don't want to. She has a BA in business administration and a postgraduate honors degree in psychology. When she's not working her magic on clients' systems and automations, you'll find her spending time with her fur and feather kids or planting her food forest. Jacqui, thank you so much for being here. Can you please tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Thank you, Laura. I'm so excited to be here. So as Laura said, my name is Jacqui Money, and yes, my surname is really Money. I always joke with people and say I married money.
Love that.
Yeah, I love it too. And I help introverted solopreneurs and coaches who necessarily want to grow their businesses but don't want to hire a huge team in order to grow because they're introverted. And so that's what I help with. I help with systems and automations and growing businesses that way.
Oh, I love that so much. That speaks so much to me. And you've helped me in my business with getting some of my systems and processes set up because I'm a big fan of the idea of having, when I am at the point where I hire a team, I want it to be a lean team. And I'm trying to get as much automated and integrations, automations, and processes just like done on the back end that I can now, so that when I am at that point, it's that much easier. But I also love that now I don't need it because you've helped me set things up. And I love that. So thank you.
I love that. And it was such a pleasure working with you. And these are the kinds of people I want to help. You know, people like me, I'm introverted and I had to figure out a way. I mean, the worst thing for me is to have to manage a person, another person. It freaks me out completely. Yeah. So that's why I fell into the automations and tech and streamlining my business that way and growing my business that way.
Oh, I love that so much. I want to touch on a little bit more about the tech in a minute. I want to go back a little bit and hear, I've known you for a number of years, and I don't think I actually know your backstory on why you started your business. So I would love for you to share that with us.
Well, it's actually quite a nice story. So we originally from Cape Town, and the one day Warren and I were watching a YouTube vegan person that we follow, and I was watching, and she was doing a tiny house tour. I looked at Warren and I said to him, I want to do that. And he was like, maybe not. And I think he thought I was nuts. And I persisted, and he realized I was serious. And then he got really into it and started watching all the videos. And we're big into sustainability and, growing our own food and that kind of thing. And so we decided to have a 5-year plan, move off grid, build a tiny house. And then we realized, how are we going to earn a living? Moving into a small town where jobs are not plentiful. And so that's how the business was actually born.
And so how long ago was that?
We had a 5-year plan. That was about 5 years ago now, but we actually did it in 3. We set up the business and moved and built the tiny house. We actually, in the tiny house, living off grid.
Oh, I love that.
Town. Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. And then Warren is in the business with you as well.
Yes. Warren does a lot of video editing and that kind of thing in the business. He does the graphic design if people need graphic design. And then I'm more on tech systems, that kind of thing.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's such a fun story.
Yes.
I knew you were in the tiny house because I've seen the video, the tour of the tiny house, which is so fun. And I've watched some of your stuff on YouTube because you have a YouTube channel.
Yes. Yes.
So, oh, that's awesome. So what would you say? So you set up a lot of the tech and integrations. Talk to me about some of the programs that you use for that you set up with clients.
Well, so we started off doing a lot of VA work.
Mm-hmm.
And then that kind of naturally progressed into, I had no idea that I was good at tech until I got into it. And there it was. I could figure all these weird and wacky, wonderful things out that everybody else was finding completely complicated. I'm sure you know, because you're also an integrator. So, and everybody else was going like, this is so hard. And I was going, no, it isn't.
So, I do a lot of jigsaw puzzles. Do you do a lot of jigsaw puzzles?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Piecing things together.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it was like trying to figure out which platforms I like to work with. And trial and error, a lot of trial and error, and eventually Airtable. And I completely fell in love, completely. And so now I work predominantly in Airtable. I do have a couple of other platforms that I integrate with Airtable, but I work predominantly in Airtable.
I love that. And so who are the people that, like, where are they in their business when it's a good fit for them to have you come and do their Airtable integration? And let me start with that question. I'll come to my next one after.
Okay. So basically, the minute you start feeling like your admin is overwhelming you, the minute you start feeling like you need a person to come in and do some of these admin things for you, but you don't want to, you're dreading it. We look at trying to set up the automation first, because let's face it, it's cheaper. It's cheaper than hiring a person. Absolutely. And it's less stress and hassle.
Yeah.
So we set up as much of the automation as we possibly can. And then if you still need a person, you can hire a person.
And you have sort of like an audit that you do, a workflow audit. Is that the correct term? And that's where you kind of do the deep dive and sit down with the client and go through like what they're doing in their business, all the workflows, everything, and then really dive into what can we automate.
Yeah. So what we do is I call it a magic mapping session.
I love that.
And it's basically mapping out your process. And particularly what we specialize in is client management. So we take your client management from when they first become a lead all the way through to offboarding, and we map out that whole process. We look at what is working, what isn't working, what can be automated, what needs to be perfected, and then we put that into motion. And what we do with Airtable is we actually build custom for you and your business, instead of you having to pigeonhole your business into one of the all-in-one tools.
Love that. Can you explain a little bit about what Airtable is to our audience for some of those who maybe they've never heard of Airtable?
Yeah. Airtable at its basic form is actually a database. But what's nice about Airtable is you can build so much into that. So it stores your data, but you can build project management. You can build client management. I use it for goal setting. I use it for marketing. I use it for numerous things. I even use it for my food forest database. So we're growing a food forest and I'm cataloging all the plants. So you can use it for so many things,
that's awesome.
Which is great.
I always think of it as kind of like a spreadsheet on steroids.
Exactly that. and it can do a lot more and is a lot more user-friendly than, say, a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet.
Well, it like you said earlier, it connects to everything. So like in my processes, someone lands on my website and they go fill out a form that's in, what's it called? It was Acuity. Now it's like Squarespace.
Scheduling.
Scheduling. Yes. And so they go and I have a form on that to gather some of their information, and that connects to my Airtable and puts them in that database for me and their questions. When you filled out the form I have just to get your information for the podcast, that all goes in there. And so I have it all in one place.
Exactly.
Oh, it's amazing.
And I'm really big on having your business, like one source of truth for your business, and having everything in one place and having you manage your business at your fingertips, not jumping around from Google Drive to your desktop to all sorts of different places to find the information that you're looking for.
Oh, I love that. I know, because it does. I know when I first came to you, I was spending so much time. I'm like, I have a lot of things. It's just, they're everywhere. I never know where I put anything. Yeah. And so having one source of truth, I love that. It just makes so much sense. It makes it so much easier on me. I know now if I need to find like a blurb about my bio real quick, I know where to find it. I know exactly where it is.
Yes. And so as a solopreneur, you can see how it makes it easier to run your business and less time consuming.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You see, and then eventually when you get to growing your business further, if you need to, you can hire your team. And like you said, a lean team and not a huge team.
Yeah. Because I know for me, I'm a total control freak. And so I can't even imagine how I would hire a team and be able to, I'm like, but I like it done my way.
Exactly. And they are, I like to cater to people that are like me. And so I'm very much, I don't want to manage people and I want my hand on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So when you say that you've discovered that you were very techie, you don't know all these things just going into it. How do you find the answers when you don't know what an answer, when you come up against something and you're like, I don't know what to do? How do you find those answers?
Well, I always tell people YouTube is my friend. And I genuinely look for answers on YouTube first. Look at tutorials, obviously the help docs inside the platform. Yeah. But what I have found is that a lot of people just simply don't like figuring these kinds of things out. So, but definitely YouTube.
I do a lot of Googling, that's for sure. I Google a lot of things. And I also know for me, like I have a number of networks of other techie people and other website designers who I can go to when I build in Divi. And when I come up against something that's acting weird, I'm like, okay, let me try to figure it out myself. Take a deep breath, step away, go reach out, ask for help, which can be hard to do, but ask my network for help. And then just keep Googling.
Yep. And then of course, when the tech is not going your way, as I'm sure you know,
mm-hmm.
I spent like half my day on a chat with Google.
Mm-hmm.
So, chats as well.
The help support. Absolutely. I know I had a client site that crashed recently and I spent 2 hours. It was total 4 hours over 2 different days, spread out in 2 different 2-hour phone calls with support with her host.
Oh, wow.
And at the end of the day, we ended up just moving her to better hosting.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's sometimes what you need to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm sleeping a lot better at night now.
I'm sure you are.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I love this. So I would love to know, can we talk a little bit about your website?
Yes.
Tell me, who built your website?
I did.
And how did you figure out how to build your website?
YouTube.
Yes. And you're on WordPress, right?
Yes, I am. So when we decided to start the business, we were both still working jobs. I was kind of building the business at night.
Okay.
And because we're in South Africa, I mean, our exchange rate to the dollar is 16.5 to 1. So we just didn't have the money. I had to figure everything out myself. I really did. And so it was like, okay, I need a website. Okay, I need this. Okay, I need that. And it was literally Googling, trial and error. And I mean, my website from there to now is a huge change. But yeah, sometimes you have to just bite the bullet and learn yourself.
I think also just like getting started, I see so often people get so hung up on like, it's not perfect.
Perfection.
And so I'm not going to launch it. And then they get stuck. I see a lot of like procrastinating branding where they're like just tweaking that logo, keep tweaking it.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, like no one cares what your logo, just pick a font, put it in. You can always change it later. No one's going to look at your amazing logo and be like, I love her logo. I'm hiring her.
Yes, I agree. And, just do things messy. That's the one thing that I've learned. Because if I don't do it messy and I don't push myself, it's almost like I can get stuck in that cycle of never getting anything out there.
Oh, so guilty of that.
Absolutely. And it's funny when I look back, and I'm sure you do as well, the times where you've made the biggest progress are the times when you did the scary things and just got out there and did it.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I get in my own way for sure.
Yeah, I do as well. And I've literally just got to force myself to just do it. I like literally close my eyes and I push enter some of the time. I'm just like, okay, it's done. I've pushed enter. I've made it live. I've said
get up, walk away.
Get up and walk away. Yeah.
Go pet the dogs. Like it's done. Whatever happens. Oh,
happens. Yeah.
I can relate.
And most of the time, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can relate to that so much. Oh my gosh. And I'm still doing it. Like even 5 years into business, 7 years, whatever it is, I still am doing that. Where I get in my own way and stop myself, and sometimes it takes someone else telling me. I had a conversation yesterday with Sarah Massey, who we both know, who was also on the podcast. And we were chatting back and forth and she's like, revisions? What do you mean revisions? She's like, just send it. It's fine. I'm like, no, I'm like slicing and dicing. She's like, it's fine. Just send it.
Well, we all know that Sarah's the queen of doing things messy.
Oh, she's such an inspiration.
She is. She absolutely is.
I would love to know, would you say there's anything that you're doing that's a little bit bolder in the industry that no one else is really doing, but you're kind of sticking your foot in the ground saying, this is how I do it and I do it different?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's something that only I'm doing, but I have taken a step back from the social media hamster wheel this year. And I'll tell you why. At the end of last year, I had been so burnt out. And it's this kind of message that we're getting that we have to keep posting, we have to keep doing this, we have to keep doing that in order for our businesses to grow or get anywhere. And at the beginning of the year, I just took a step back and I said, I'm going to do some me time. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to slow down. And I'm not going to do things I don't want to do anymore. And social media was one of the first things I let go because it just felt so overwhelming to me. You have to post every day or your business is going to collapse and all of that nonsense that people are telling you. And so I completely cut social media. I barely post on Instagram. I barely post on Facebook. And my business hasn't collapsed.
I love that.
So, yes.
How are you? Good.
I think you were going to ask, how am I
getting
promoting?
clients?
Yes. So I have decided to invest more in relationship building instead of posting to people who don't even know me and, don't really care. I would rather build relationships with people I do know and do like and who like me. And that's what I've been doing, building a network, building relationships with real people instead of just continuously posting content on social media.
You also have an email list.
Yes. I email my list, and that is the extent of the content that I produce. I would rather email my list than post on social media.
Oh, I think that's a much more brilliant plan right there for marketing, is emailing your list. The importance of nurturing that list, because that's a warm audience. Those are people who've already said, I like you, I like what you have to say.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's kind of where I'm putting my efforts in. I've also started doing a lot more podcasts, summits, those kinds of things. And that helps me grow my email list.
I love that. Well, and then you have some courses you do as well, in addition to the one-on-one work you do.
I do. I have a couple of smaller courses, and then I've got some systems, I call them system drops, that people can download and just kind of get familiar with Airtable. I have a client management Airtable base that they can download and play around with. I also have a subscription tracker, because I myself needed that. It's like tracking all my subscriptions, telling me when they due, so that I can make sure that there's money in the account for when they take the money off. So there's that as well that people can purchase. And then, of course, I'm busy developing a program to teach people how to create the client management system.
Oh, can we talk a little more about that? What kind of program is that going to be?
It's basically going to be, so let me back up a little bit. What I realized is, when I'm setting up these client management systems for people, they are not, everybody's like you and me. They're not techie. They don't want to continuously have to hire me to come and fix something that is, if they break a zap or they move a document that they shouldn't move or something like that. So what I thought was, and I didn't want to have them hire me all the time. It felt disingenuous to me to create yet another problem that only I can solve. So I thought, if I create a program showing them how the system works, showing them how the zaps work, and so they can go in and change them, I'm empowering them instead of making them more dependent on me. And so that's why I thought this program would be a good fit for those kinds of people who would want to kind of take charge of their own systems.
Yeah, the more DIY people. Because you have the people who are like, I don't want to touch the tech with a 10-foot pole. And then you have people like me who are like, I don't mind the tech. I didn't have the time to set it up, because I knew when we had talked, I was like, I want to have something set up where there's, one source of truth. And I wish I'd set it up years ago, because it's a manual process bringing in all the stuff that wasn't in before.
Yeah. But it's going to be so wonderful once it is all in there.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, I knew I wanted to do that. I knew I wanted to work with Airtable, but I was like, I can either go fall down a rabbit hole of figuring out how to set up myself, or I can hire Jacqui and she'll come take care of it for me, which is what I did.
Yeah. And it was super quick. That's the nice thing about it as well. you would have had to spend months running down that rabbit hole.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and I would have probably done it halfway, and then a client project would have come in and distracted me, and I'd be like, I'll finish it later.
Yeah. And then you would still be hunting for all your various different things in different places.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love to know, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges, maybe like mindset challenges that you overcame? I know we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but what's like one of the mindset struggles that you've had?
I think for sure what we were talking about earlier is literally forcing yourself to get out there. Because it is, I know it's really scary. It's really scary. I mean, doing this podcast is really scary. Being on video is really scary for me. But forcing yourself to do the things that you don't think you can do, and then just doing them, is so liberating and empowering. So that would be my number one tip. And then my number two tip would be not to give up at the first sign of struggle. Running a business is hard. Whoever tells you running a business is easy is lying. It is hard. And you need to have perseverance and determination, for sure. Sorry.
For those of you listening in, a cat just came out from behind the curtain. Oh, I love that.
She always goes like this.
And also be ready for the unexpected.
Of course.
That's the other thing.
Yes. Did I mention we've got like 7 fur kids? 5 of them are dogs. So if they all start barking at the same time, I apologize.
I love your dogs. I love when you post pictures of your dogs.
Yeah, they're fun.
They're great. Oh, well, I love all that. That was amazing. I love those tips. I agree with it 100%. I know. I mean, imposter syndrome is real. It does not go away. It's like, and I hear this all the time. I have coaches that talk about how it's a muscle, and you just have to like keep working that muscle and do the scary things and show up on the podcast and just keep doing it. And it does get easier. It doesn't necessarily, it still can be scary.
It's still scary. And I mean, don't ever think that that's going to go away, because once you master something, the next challenge will come, and the next challenge. I see like big name people that I work with who have some kind of challenge or imposter syndrome challenge that you would never even think would have that kind of challenge. You would just like, they're so put together. They're so much further than I am in business. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter how big you are, how much money you're making. You're not immune to imposter syndrome.
Absolutely not.
Oh, I love that. It's so true. It really is. What's something that you would say you're really proud of? I'm a big fan of celebrating wins and, patting ourselves on the back. So I would love to know, what's something when you look back on your journey so far, what's something you're really proud of yourself for?
I'm really proud of starting the business, getting it up and running, and it's literally supporting us. The both of us. It's supporting us. It's supporting our family. And I'm really proud of that.
That's something to be really proud of. It's incredible. It's, and I don't know what kind of work you were doing before this and what kind of I know for me, I was working a corporate job and I had weekends off, but man, I sure didn't love that job I did. Now I love Mondays. I love going to work. I have a neighbor who works corporate, and I'll see him when we're out walking dogs. He's like, Friday. And I'm like, Friday? I'm like, oh no, it's the end of the work week. I love my work week. I love my job. I love my clients. I love what I do
as well. Yeah. Also, I mean, Warren doesn't like it very much, but I sometimes get up at 5 a.m. to come and sit and work because I love it so much. I'm just let me quickly just go do this one thing, and then I'll make us some coffee.
Well, it's because the mind, because I know I'm always coming up with ideas. I always have these things I want to do and create, and other ways that I can help make an impact on my audience and my clients, and just other things that I want to put out in the world. And it's exciting.
It is exciting. I love it. Yeah.
It's really cool that we live in this world now where we can build these businesses and live the way, work the way we want to work. If we want to get up and get something done at 5 a.m., we can just build these businesses that support the lifestyle, whether that's building a tiny home and living off grid or whatever it is that we want. A dream. You had a dream and you were like, this is what I want to do. And you did it. Like, that's incredible. We did it in 3 years.
I know. I agree. It was amazing. And we didn't think we would get it done in 5 years. And we did it in 3. So
incredible. I want to know what you're building, what you're growing in the food forest.
Well, we've only just started. And we are busy doing what they call the pioneer planting. And so those are the plants that go before the trees and set the ground, for the actual trees to go in. But we've planted a guava tree. We've planted a fig tree so far. And then we've got a veggie garden as well.
Well, I know where I'm coming for some cheese and fruit.
Oh, yes. Yes. Just a quick trip to South Africa.
It's on my list.
You're very welcome.
Well, Jacqui, this was so wonderful. I do have one other question that I would love to ask you that I ask everyone who comes on the show. And that is, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone when they're first starting out in their business that would help them be bolder, be louder, and make more waves in their business?
Just get yourself out there. Start talking to people, start putting your name out there, and then do the scary things.
Oh, I love that so much. Jacqui, thank you so much for coming on the show. Can you let everyone know where they can come find you, learn more about how you can help them automate the back end of their business? Sure.
They can reach me on my website. It's www.virtualduo.co.za.
Wonderful. And I'll link all that up in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. Be sure to check out the show notes at lauracomark.com/podcast. And if you're ready to grow and scale your business and your current website is outdated and doesn't reflect the magic you bring and the results you get for your clients, go to lauracomark.com to find out how I can help bring your vision to life. That's LauraKamark.com. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye now.